We're about to discuss the most amazing vehicles that never actually made it to the U.S. shores legally. And number one on that list is one of my personal favorites. That is the R34 GT-R. It was created to rival the Porsche 911, and it really did. More bang for your buck by a mile. It was the infamous RB26 inline 6-cylinder twin turbocharged, and that thing, oh, it's just magnificent, man. I have been waiting for the 25-year ban to lift, which it will in January 2024. That's coming up right soon. And then the missus and I, we're going to be getting ourselves something spectacular. We're going to get one of these, and then there's something else coming up on the list. I'm going to be getting one of them too. Stick around. Here's the question though. How did Paul Walker get a couple of these when he weren't allowed to get them in the US? Motorex, now that was a company that specialized in importing specifically GTRs, and they would modify them, do everything like new windshield wipers, new windshield itself, 3 extra catalytic converters just to make it street legal here in the US. Then they'd put a lot of markup on that, kind of like what dealerships are doing. Now, one of my good buddies, Irving, went through the same company back in the day, got himself an R34 just like Paul Walker, but then he turned it in and got himself a Toyota Supra. Turned in the Supra later and got himself a BMW M5. Which one do you think was the best? The Porsche 993 GT2. That thing was daggum awesome. It was built with one purpose in mind, and that was to take over with the FIA. That thing was so amazing at racing, nothing could even come close to it. The show or display amendment to the 25-year ban. Now what happened was Billy Gates, the guy that started Microsoft, he got himself one of these, had it imported. It was impounded before he even got it. When it was impounded, him and his lawyers went to court for 15 years. So they could fight on this, and they got an exception made for all of us. Now, you can get one of these cars that's less than 500 ever made, did not pass any of the US safety regulations, any of that. Again, you can drive it 2,500 miles a year. Thank you, Billy. I knew you was good for something. I need you to celebrate with good old Bill Gates by just smashing that like button. That's the best way to celebrate right there. Originally, they was banned because Porsche refused to crash test any of these, and I can't really say I blame them. Porsche said nine to crashing any of these and actually getting a safety regulation here in the US. Fun comparison time. This car, well, it had a power-to-weight ratio of 1 horsepower for every 6.3 pounds. Over here, we got ourselves the Dodge Charger Hellcat. This one has 1 horsepower for every 6.4 pounds. Interesting how that works. 717 horsepower versus 444 power to weight, y'all. If you ask any European car enthusiast what was the best sports car made out of Europe in the 80s, they're gonna easily point to this. Maserati MC12. Now, you remember the Ferrari Enzo. I know you do, because everybody remembers that. Well, at the same time the Ferrari was owned by Fiat, Fiat also owned another company named Maserati. And as Maserati hadn't done good in racing in a long time, what they did was they called up all them folks over at Ferrari, and they were like, hey y'all, since now we're all kind of inbreeding and such, what I need you to do is share everything about that Ferrari Enzo with them boys over here. Them boys was like, yep, we want to take that thing and make it even more special. Give it 2,000 milligrams of testosterone and cheese. So Ferrari did. But they limited the power output on the engine by 29 horsepower. Ferrari's always got to one-up everybody, even their inbred sister brothers. This car was darn amazing. It won 40 races, 16 titles, 6 driver championships, and 2 constructors championships. Don't be like Ferrari and isolate and keep everything to yourself. It's important that you go ahead and subscribe down below. That's going to help you in the future, because you're going to find out which car I imported first. The Holden Maloo. The past 2 months, I have spent way more time than I'd like to admit researching how I can get my hands on one of these here in the US. I finally found the solution. Take a look here. This company, Left Hand Utes, right out of Denver, Colorado, they're gonna help me do it. Boys, when you get a phone call from old Bubba Ray, I do expect a discount, because I'm giving you a big old shout out. Now, Holden made these Utes for a long time, and sadly, they've never been available in the US because of something called the chicken tax. Long story short, what happened was way back in the day, there was a tax on importing chickens into the United States. On that same bill was trucks. Even though chickens was taken off the list the same year, trucks remained on there, and it's so daggum cost prohibitive that nobody ever did it. Sadly also, Holden is no longer in operation, as they were owned by General Motors, who also used to cram a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 in them. They closed the doors to production for all Holdens in 2020. Australia now has no local car manufacturers to speak of. I have had the Ford Ranchero, I have had a Chevy El Camino, and both were awesome. But this thing was sexy, powerful, violent, sexy. Chicken tax is but one way we have been getting screwed out of getting amazing vehicles in the United States. Another thing that we're getting absolutely shafted on is dealers. They're putting $99,000 markups on some cars as of late. I mean, that is insane. You can buy you a Gen 2 Dodge Viper and a C6 Corvette with the money that they would just be charging in the markup. A Toyota Century. What do you get when you spend $180,000 on a Toyota in Japan? Not a Lexus. You get this. This is the Toyota Century. Now this thing is nuts because they have 4 people are qualified in all the world to paint these things by hand. It's got 7 layers of paint, then they're absolutely polished to perfection. Looks like a mirror when you look at them. Instead of leather coating the entire interior, it's wool. 100% wool everywhere. And Japan said, no, we ain't exporting these to the United States. However, there is one. That one is in Plano, Texas. Why Texas? Tell you why. When the executives come over from Japan, they do not want to travel around in Cadillacs or Lincolns. Jack. They want to get them a Toyota. This thing is so special that even Lexus has to keep its greedy little fingers off of it. Why can't you get it here in the US? It's simple. Toyota said no. It's that simple.
How about new?
What are the real reasons that these cars never made it to America? It's a combination of things, mostly emissions and safety, but then we have to talk about politics and something called non-tariff trade barriers. Now, I could do an entire video on the politics surrounding this, but suffice to say, the American government wants us to buy as many vehicles that were manufactured here in America, keeping money here in America. And I understand that, but it kept me from getting my hands on a Ute, kept me from getting my hands on an R34, kept me from getting my hands on that special edition Subaru WR. No, I don't want that thing. Them things is goofy. Stupid with 2 O's, I'll tell you what. And right now, I need you to fight dealerships and their greed. I ain't picking my nose, don't worry. It's just some of my mustache hair keeps on going up and it's tickling at something awful. Why, does it look like I got a bug? The port, dyslexia 4 cure found, right?